He's pretty honest. He'll tell you straightforward what your dog is missing. And that's something that I believe a lot of breeders need to hear. That's why these shows to me is like, some people might argue with me and say, oh, well, I don't need nobody else telling me what's wrong with my dog. I'm like, yeah, but if you don't follow that standard, how are you gonna know? You know, I let the dogs speak for themselves. That's mainly what it is. I don't like to brag that I'm the best, but I do compete with myself because I try to produce the best out there.
Welcome to eternanimal.com, where passion for pets meets expert knowledge. Explore unique breeds with insights on temperament, training, and more, helping you find the perfect companion. Discover, learn, and fall in love, one breed at a time.
All right, my name is Dennis Vergara. I'm the owner and operator of Vergara Kennels. I breed American Bulldogs, and we're located in the high desert, exactly Hesperia, California. So I do breed American Bulldogs. I got into the breed around 2015. I purchased a female pup named Monroe. When we went to go see the dog, one of my buddies had called me and said, hey, there's this guy selling Bulldogs. In my mind, I was thinking English Bulldog. So that's fine, we went out there. When the breeder came out with the dogs, I looked at my friend saying, kind of looking at him like, what are these dogs? The breeder was like, oh, these are American Bulldogs, they're not English Bulldogs. So at that time, I didn't know what was an American Bulldog. The breeder explained to me the different types of Bulldogs there are. So I'm like, okay. So at the end of the day, I was like, well, I'm here for a dog, I'm taking the dog. We purchased her. Her name was Monroe. She's no longer with us. We fell in love with her. The breeder saw something in her that she had potential to breed. So he asked me if he could use her for a breeding. And if I wanted a pup out of that, then, you know, I was welcome to one. You know, we did the breeding. She had the puppies. I decided to move with one of those pups because he was moving in the direction of color, and I didn't want to get involved in the color. So that's
that whole dilemma.
Yeah, so I kind of moved away from that. I started doing my homework, researching more of the dogs. You know, I talked to different breeders. I went to go see different dogs that I thought, you know, it was potentially for me to buy a male so I could start my breeding program. Then I found a guy in Italy, and I fell in love with his dogs, and he had the dogs that really caught my eye, and to me they had that wow factor. And you know, he had this consistency of all his dogs, how they look, and that's what I wanted to move forward with. So I reached out to him, and he said, I have a litter coming pretty soon. You could, you know, welcome to send a deposit, reserve your pup. And so I did, and I got first pick male. And from that, I bought my boy Diesel. Now he's a champion with the ABA registry. And then from there, you know, I championed him, and then I decided to get a second dog from the Netherlands. She was a female. Her name is Kalina. But with her, it's a funny story because I was trying to buy another dog from the same guy I got the first male. But he's like, Dennis, I don't have puppies, but one of my close partners that breeds exactly like me has puppies, and I have first pick female. I could give you that if you want it. I said, okay, let's do it. So, you know, I sent the deposit to the Netherlands to the guy, John Pierre, his name is. He runs Bullet Bulls up in the Netherlands. I started off with Monroe. She was heavy Kennedy bloodline. You know, great dogs the man Doug Kennedy has produced. But then when I purchased these, so he comes from a fast lane bloodline, a dog named out of 50. To me, that's what I've worked with because I enjoyed it. It's just that blood, sometimes it's a little bit slower to develop. You know, sometimes the puppies, when they're young, they look really nice. But then they get into this fugly stage and you're like, whoa, what is this? But once, you know, I always tell, be patient, because once they develop, man, I was like, you're gonna fall in love with this dog. So I could say maybe fast lane has been kind of the lines that I've worked with. One of them, you have to be humble and genuine and be honest with the customers and yourself. Be an ethical breeder, meaning, you know, do the health and genetic testing you need to do so you can know what you're working with. You know, at the end, you want to produce a healthy dog to show to families that you don't want them to deal with the horribles, going to the vets and all this. I was like, so that's to me a real breeder that should be an ethical breeder that loves what he does, but at the same time shows the community and his customers that he cares about the dog as well. I have this dog named Peso. I got him from up north in Oregon. The previous owner already genetically tested him. So he sent me his results, I kind of see. And before I got him, I was gonna use him as a stud. And I tried it once, but my female didn't take. Then the opportunity came up that, you know, to get him, and I jumped on it, and I have him now in my yard. And, you know, he's a beautiful big dog. I feed raw. But at the same time, I feed kibble. Usually in the winter, I like to fatten them up a little bit. Now that I'm up here in the high desert, it gets real cold.
Yeah.
So, you know, I try to put some weight on them. But in the summer, I try to keep them lean, and I put them on the raw diet. You know, it's ground beef, chicken, any organs. You know, especially, I try not to give as much supplements, but you know, I have older dogs that are about, Diesel's 11 years old, so I do throw a couple of supplements for hip and joints, just because he's getting older, but the dog still moves like, man, if he was 3. Yeah. So I think I'm doing a good job, but I believe it's part of the diet. That's why he's still so active.
Eterna Animal began with a shared love for dogs and a commitment to making a difference in their lives. As a community of dog lovers and experts, we came together to educate and support others in providing the best for their loyal companions. With our resources, guides, and products, we empower pet owners, breeders, and dog lovers with the knowledge and tools to offer the very best to their furry family members. Visit eternaanimal.com and join us on this journey. Together, we're building a community of responsible, informed, and loving dog owners.
Right now in the winter, I feed them twice a day. So I'll feed them in the morning and then later in the evening. In the summer, I'll try keeping them just once a day. The summer, just because, you know, I live in the high desert, and it gets hot up here, 105, 106, sometimes 110. So I don't like having them that much weight on them. The type of bulldog that I breed, they're known to have breeding problems. So we try to minimize the danger for them. So we do breed to try to make them breed better. That's why I always try to focus on the pair that I'm gonna breed. Make sure their nares are wide open. I don't like a pinched nair because it's harder for them. And if you see my yard, that's what they have, big nares. So they don't have that much issue because my dogs live outside. Yeah. I don't have them inside in the AC or anything. So when it's 110, they're outside. I usually go out on walks with him. I do in my backyard. I do have a spring pole. You know, I work them there. At the same time, I have a flirt pole. I work them with a flirt pole. I live in the desert, so if I could walk like a quarter mile and I'm out in the desert, and I let them roam. I let them roam, throw ball out there, and you know, and that's almost an everyday thing that we do. So they're active all day because they're big dogs and they get bored. Mm-hmm. If you don't drain that energy, oh man, they'll destroy your backyard just, you know, to try to get active on something. Yeah, I champion a couple of my dogs already with the ABA registry. That's the registry I show. The ABA is most based on the West Coast. I do show my dogs. I offer even customers when they buy a dog from me, come to these events so you can see what it is, you know, what we do out here, and the passion that with it, you know, that we have for these dogs, like why we do this. If you want to become a breeder and you want to start off, I always say don't jump in right away. Do your homework, do your due diligence, ask questions, ask as many questions as you can. I was like, because no question is stupid. That's how you learn. Yeah. I always tell them, make sure you go to a breeder that it's ethical. Make sure the breeder does, you know, health testing, genetic testing, because you will avoid a lot of headaches if you know these dogs are health tested and you start off with one of these dogs. Honestly, the most important to me is ask questions, because when I came up, I wish I had more people to ask. So I kind of learned the hard way myself, you know, but you know, I'm welcome. Anybody that is willing to start, you know, breeding, if they need a mentorship, whatever, I'm here to help. It doesn't matter if it's not the same breed or any breed, I'll still help you, you know, because breeding is breeding. I could say I could look up to, just because they've been doing this for so many years. Their bloodline hasn't been tainted with other lines, to say the Bybees American Bulldogs. Randy and Allison Bybees are the owners of it. They've been doing this, I believe, not the 1990s, and they've kept their lines pretty close. They don't sell pups with breeding rights. Everything is a pet. You know, they have their own bloodline that hasn't been tainted or been mixed with different lines. So that's, to me, that's real impressive. They have multiple champion dogs. I've competed against them. Randy Bybee as well, he's a judge. It gives me both worlds, as me competing with him, but at the same time, he's judging my dog. I accept criticism well, because then I improve what I'm lacking, you know, and he's pretty honest. He'll tell you straightforward what your dog is missing, and that's something that I believe a lot of breeders need to hear. That's why these shows, to me, is like, some people might argue with me and say, oh, well, I don't need nobody else telling me what's wrong with my dog. I was like, yeah, but if you don't follow that standard, how are you gonna know? You know, my main goal is starting those 3 lines I mentioned, the Diesel, the Peso, and the other line is the COH Prime. That's the dog's name. I want to build those 3 lines, those 3 families. That's my goal for this 2025. I could say, you know what, that I'm humble. You know, I let the dogs speak for themselves. That's mainly what it is. I don't like to brag that I'm the best, but I do compete with myself, because I try to produce the best out there. But that's for me. And just, you know, I let the dogs speak for themselves. My production, you know, they could judge it, and if I'm doing a great job, dogs speak for themselves. I go hunting.
Really?
Yes, so we go hunting for deer. This year, every October, we go, you know, that's when hunting season opens up. We go up north Nevada. It's called Wells, Nevada.
Oh, okay.
So we go to for deer over there, but this year we're thinking of going to Colorado for elk. Man, I enjoy it, because when we're out there, there's no cell phones, nothing. So we're complete out of the world. So you're just focusing on what you're doing. And there's a couple of buddies of us that get together every year. Some come from Texas, Arizona. Myself from Cali, and my buddies in Vegas. Yeah. And we enjoy it. And honestly, I bring meat for the dogs, since I feed raw. Yeah. You know, it's a big plus. Yeah. So I'm Dennis Vergara. You can find me in social media at Instagram, Vergara Bulls Kennels, Facebook, Vergara Bulls, and my website at vergarabullskennels.com, and meet the breeder.
This video is proudly sponsored by Bennett's Pets, a trusted place for connecting happy and healthy puppies of all different breeds with loving forever homes. Start your journey to find your next furry friend at bennetspets.com. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and visit us at www.eternaanimal.com.